Do you guys want to hear a story? Well, even if you don't, I'm gonna tell it anyways. For the past couple of years, I have been traveling for work. And a few of the First Nations I work for, I've made some really great relationships. Um, I even got adopted by one of the families out in one of the reserves. And I have a story to share. Okay, so do you believe that creatures exist? Mythical creatures exist? Mythical creatures, things like, us Crees, we believe in the little people. We believe in the Sabe, the Sasquatch. We also believe in centaurs, just to name a few. So, anyways, this one day I was driving out to Kihiwin First Nation from Edmonton Lake, and I think it's called Kihiwin Lake. So, just chokes on my. Anyways, I was driving by this one lake. I think it's called Kihiwin Lake, and I was with my son. And so I stopped on the side of the road because I felt like a beckoning. I felt like something was like calling me. So I stopped on the side of the road, the lake. And as I'm sitting there, I thought, okay, well, I should make a tobacco offering. So I brought out, I always have tobacco in my vehicle. So I brought out a cigarette. And as I was preparing it to lay out, to go drop, I was going to go drop it in the water. This huge head came out of the lake. And it was about I would say maybe 3, 4 feet wide and about maybe 2 feet high, and it almost looked like a dragon. And mind you, I'm not seeing it with my eyes, I'm seeing it with my eye, and I'm like, I just froze, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen anything this close before. And I looked over at my son. He's in a passenger seat, just doing his thing, and I'm like, do you see this? He's like, do you see this? And he's like, looks, no, but for the lake, beautiful. And I'm, no, no, no. I said, okay, this is probably just me then. So I said, hello, how are you? I said, sorry. I said, I'm a little afraid of you. And it's like, I shouldn't say it was a female energy. It was really warm and very inviting and very protective. And I said, hello. I said, sorry, I'm a little afraid of you. And she said, that's okay. She goes, not a lot of people acknowledge me. She goes, first off, I'd like to thank you for acknowledging me and I can read your intent. I know your intent is to drop some tobacco, she says, but oops, I didn't even know how to black mark on my lip. Anyway, she said, I just want to let you know in the kindest way possible that I appreciate your tobacco offering, she says, but we don't really care for that type of tobacco. See, the tobacco that you humans drop for us is full of chemicals and it's full of things that we're just like not good for the earth, she says. So as we appreciate the offering, yes, we absolutely do, she says, but if you're going to offer something, offer, it's about the intent, she said. And I'm listening to this as she's talking to me, and I'm like, wow. And I'm looking at my son, I'm like, are you, and my son's like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, I said, I'm talking to a spirit. And he's like, oh, okay, my sons know what I do. And I think, okay, when I'm going to continue talking to your spirit. And then she said, I was like, well, what else can we offer? And I'm talking to myself, right, with my son, and I'm like, what? And then she says, well, what comes from the earth? She says, sage, sweetgrass, cedar. And what do humans naturally have? Breath of life, tears. Breath of life is one of the most important gifts that we can offer. She goes, where I am, we also have breath of life. She goes, and that's a very important gift, especially where I come from. And she's talking about being in the water. And so I put my tobacco away. And since that day, I don't carry tobacco for offerings anymore. I do it for people, but I don't offer it to, the ground. I don't offer tobacco. Anyways, going on with the story now. She said, she goes, and once again, thank you for acknowledging me, she says. And she goes, nobody talks to me anymore. She goes, a long time ago, she said, well, people used to talk to me all the time. I had a really great relationship with the people from around here, she says, but that eventually the relationship was lost and people stopped acknowledging me. People stopped talking to me. People stopped asking me for help. And I remember I went back to a teaching that I got from Elder Elsie Sanderson in Saskatchewan. She told me, she said, our guides are falling asleep because nobody's asking them for help. And it made me really sad. And I thought, wow, they are. So I've been practicing believing and knowing that there's more to this universe than just us. And, we believe in a God that many different perceptions see. Some people will see God in the universe looking back at them. Some people see God in their children. Some people see God when they look in the mirror and they see themselves as an extension of Creator. And some people see God, in the gifts that they receive. And some people see God, totally different as a white light. And they're all true. However you see God, however you perceive God, it's all true. It's all real. So, anyway, she kept speaking. She says, it was actually a book. She says, it was a book that literally destroyed my relationship with humans. And I thought, a book? I said, oh, the Bible. And I'm not putting down biblical teachings at all. I am a Christian myself, actually. She said, it brought fear to people, and she said everything just started changing. She said, but I'm still here. I'm still letting you know that we do exist, and I just wanted to thank you for acknowledging me. She goes, because I see you every time you drive by here. And I'm getting emotional. She says, I see you every time you drive by here. She says you're always offering tobacco. She goes, letting you know that we acknowledge you and we thank you. Thank you for the offerings. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for knowing that we're here. It was such a beautiful moment that day. And so, anyways, and then it went back. She went back into the lake, and but I could see the water rippling, like, moving. I thought, wow. So I continued to Kihi when I was there to do some work. But I called up a lady, one of my elders, and I told her about it. I said, I have a story to tell you. She goes, I don't know if you'll believe me though. So I told her what happened, and I told her it was, there's like a snake came out of the lake, and she says, no. She goes, that's not a snake. She goes, yeah, they do live here. And yeah, we did have a relationship with them. And yeah, some of us do talk to them, she says, but we do know that there's creatures like that do exist, and they were here long before us. And they're very protected because they travel through portals. And the ones that live in the water, they do travel through different lakes. They have their own system. They have their own world under there, she says, and they do. She goes, I believe you. She goes, because I talked to them too. And because I thought I was maybe, I don't know. I was really questioning if that was real or not. And she validated that. And so ever since then, every time I go by that lake, I drop some cedar or some sage, and I thank her, and I ask for I ask that they be sustained. I ask for signs from them, and I ask for. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling on about that, but I ask for different things, and my prayers are always answered. And it also showed me that I have this saying. I always tell people this in my readings. You believe in chief and council, but you can't believe in your own magic. And so from that day forward, and even other instances, I have other stories to tell. Actually, I'll keep telling stories as I go along. But I took that teaching and I ran with it, and ever since then, my life has become totally magic. Things happen out of the blue that are just so profound, and I want to share that with you. But not today. Maybe tomorrow. Anyways, I just wanted to share that, and if you believe, go ahead. If don't, whatever. But anyways, Auntie Uma loves you, and have a good day.